USC survived an upset bid from Kansas State and advanced to the Elite Eight with a 67-61 win. The Trojans had a Juju Watkins Funko Pop with them on the bench in honor of their star who tore her ACL in the round of 32. Trojans were able to get the win even with Kiki Iriafen struggling from the floor. She was 3 of 13 from the field, scored 7 points. As Kennedy Smith led USC with 19 points, and they'll play UConn in the Elite Eight on Monday. Time now to welcome in our CBS Sports women's basketball analyst, Erica Ayala. And Erica, USC, they're able to get it done against a really good Kansas State squad. And everybody's talking about, okay, how they're going to look without Juju Watkins. For me, it was Kiki Iriafen. She's going to come to play. She had an off shooting night, but it's the freshman, Kennedy Smith we mentioned, Avery Howe, they combined for 37. What did you like about the way the underclassmen really came to play in the Sweet 16 matchup?
Well, they did exactly what their head coach has been saying that this team would do since the Juju Watkins injury in particular. It is about playing as a team, playing for each other. And we heard it after, again, that injury, that first night that some freshmen were going to step up. We've talked on HQ before about Kiki Iriafen, yes, needs to step up and score. And she's done that since Juju's injury. And it's her leadership, I think, even going back to the last game, that allowed this Trojans team to just stay the course. I think also you have to point to Kansas State just making some mistakes down the stretch. But that's when poise, that's when those late game decision making, all of those things, that's when you really see the teams that are prepared for those moments.
Right, and they were prepared for this one. They're able to get it done. It may have not been pretty at all times, but they're moving on to the Elite Eight. Now, UConn, they battled Oklahoma. First half storyline was Oklahoma, their three-point shooting, a 4-point lead. But in the second half, Erica, we witnessed a historic Paige Bueckers masterclass, 29 of her 40 points in the final 2 quarters as the Huskies cruised to a win. How would you describe Bueckers' performance?
This is a player that can do a lot of things on the court and for this UConn team. And what I will say is, it again goes down to getting into that winning mentality. And Paige Bueckers was struggling early on, and we heard it on the broadcast and through reports that he was asking his star to step up. Gino Auriemma, I should say, was asking his star to step up. And that's exactly what she did. You have to know as a leader, especially when you're a leader as talented as Paige Bueckers, sometimes you need to facilitate. And that was something that you have to give Oklahoma credit for, because their defense made things difficult for UConn and for Bueckers to facilitate. But that doesn't mean that you don't participate. And so the UConn star needed to find her shot a little bit more, open the offense up. And that's exactly how this Huskies team was able to do. 40 points for Bueckers. Just fantastic performance.
Hey, look, she said this is her last tournament. She is going out with a bang. And UConn, of course, is now going to face USC, a rematch from earlier in the season when the Trojans won. It was a game that went down to the wire. Of course, Juju Watkins played in that game. AZ Fudd, she was coming back from injury, so she didn't play a whole lot of minutes. When you look at this matchup, right, knowing that Juju's not going to be there, Kiki's going to take on a bigger role. AZ has looked better. How do you think this one is going to shake out?
This is going to be a tough one. I always knew that this was going to be a battle. And I will say, I've been on the record saying even before the Watkins injury, I had this matchup going in UConn's favor. We saw that Paige Bueckers can score. We know that she can facilitate. And so that's just a lot of firepower. And let's not forget, Sarah Strong took a little while to get acclimated in that Oklahoma game as well. Don't expect that she will have an off night, probably gonna be talked up or talked at if it's Gino talking to Sarah Strong about that. And then this is a USC team, that again, they're gonna need Kiki Iriafen to just rise to the occasion. I do think it will be a battle, but I still give the edge to UConn. As you mentioned, you know they're trying to send Paige Bueckers outright, and I think they really want to be the UConn team that, you know, puts a little more respect on UConn now, gets them to not just a title game, but gets them a championship.
Right, because after all, it's been almost a decade since the Huskies won a national championship, which is crazy to say out loud. Last time they won was in 2016. Now, in the first game of the day, TCU, Erica, rallied back from a 9-point deficit in the second half. They outscored the Fighting Irish 20-10 in that fourth quarter. And a big reason why, Hailey Van Lith. She cemented herself as the best player on the floor Saturday. 26 points, 9 boards. What has it been like to see the way she's really reversed the narrative around her after a bad fit at LSU?
And that's exactly it. I think that was a part of it. And she's also been open about her journey and what she's gone through from a mental health perspective, really wanting to find joy in the game again, getting back to feeling herself and being able to be present. And that means just for her, off the court as well as on the court. And so to know that she had the peace of mind and was able to do a reset with a team that we know has come through a lot, and really has been able to make history as a program, this has been huge for Hailey Van Lith. And honestly, I think she almost feels and is playing with a little more freedom maybe than we've ever seen in her career before. Sometimes that perspective, right? You just enjoy and you do what you do best. And that's exactly what we are seeing from Hailey Van Lith.
No, it's very clear. Like the pressure, the spotlight, it doesn't get to her. She probably embraces it. She knows that she can just go out there and have fun, and she's still going to be happy no matter what happens on the court. Now, in a Regional 3, right, in Birmingham, Tennessee and Texas, they went back and forth. It was a physical, grinded-out game, given the pressure that both teams really bring out. But the Longhorns outscored Tennessee 17-9 in that fourth. What did you pinpoint as to why the Longhorns were able to outlast the Volunteers?
It really went to perimeter shooting, and neither one of these teams is known for their lights-out, knock-them-down type style, especially from the perimeter. And Texas has a little bit more experience with that. So we saw that they were able to be the better shooters from the arc, at almost 20%, or not even, I should say, 20% for Tennessee. That's tough. And with fewer shots taken, though, the Longhorns from the arc were able to get it done. I think also you have to look at free throws, and that's tough in a tournament game. You have to go in as a team knowing that you have to be ready to shoot free throws, be ready to box out on free throws. And this was another separator here, 4 of 10 from the line for Tennessee. I mean, you really have to get those points because you never know when a game is going to come down to the wire. So those are just some things that, again, Tennessee will clean up for the next time, things that you can ultimately control. But 2 really great defensive teams, but the team that had the better offensive night was able to win.
Right, and Jordan Lee, she was huge off the bench. She was hitting threes left and right, and they were 10 of 12 from the line. And again, it was a few possession game, 67-59. Those free throws coming back to bite Tennessee. So as we look ahead to the Elite Eight matchup between TCU and Texas, what is going to be the difference maker in who goes to Tampa?
Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Again, I think you're seeing a team in Texas that knows that they can go toe-to-toe defensively with anyone. And then it's not just Hailey Van Lith, right, for TCU that you're looking at. You're looking at, of course, Sedona Prince. You see what they can get from Madison Connor as well. They have different weapons that they can utilize, so to speak, on the court as well. I do give the edge a little bit defensively to Texas, but they have to be able to be present and play that defense while also not sacrificing good looks or at least shots that are going to open up and break down the TCU defense. So that's a little bit of the game that Texas will need to play. But again, we've seen them do that in this tournament.
Yeah, the Horned Frogs looking for their first ever Final Four appearance. It should be a dandy between Texas and TCU. Eric Ayala, always appreciate the insight.
Thank you.
And here's a look at the odds to win the Women's National Championship according to FanDuel Sportsbook. UConn, the favorite at +100. USC, not surprisingly, they have the worst odds of the teams left at +4,800.